Success of monarchy in the 16th century. Catherine de Medici came to power 2 years after Knox's blast, so she escaped his blistering opprobrium. She ruled France for 29 years as La Reine Mère, mother of 3 French kings. Although Knox was using the term regiment primarily to mean rule or governance, in his provocative title he was also playing with a newer use of the term regiment, as if women were making a warlike attack on male dominance, against which a soldier's trumpet blast had become necessary. With some nice historical irony, Queen Elizabeth I of England, probably the most famous of the women who ruled in 16th-century Europe, came to power only a few short months after Knox published his rant. Although he tried to apologize to her as a Protestant queen, saying he only meant to interdict Catholic women rulers, she was profoundly offended by his anti-woman diatribe. She was not amused. In consequence, Elizabeth never allowed Knox to travel through her realm again. On the number of trips he took to and from Scotland and the continent thereafter, he always had to go around England by ship, a far more perilous way to travel. However daunting Elizabeth's rejection of him might have been, Knox's first blast has done history a real service by calling our attention to the remarkable number of European women who were in positions of premier authority in the 16th century, and by suggesting that they were rightly to be understood as a regiment. Like fellow soldiers in a sororal troop, they did try to protect and aid each other, keeping each other's backs, as it were, asking each other to aid any one of them who might be in peril. They called each other sisters. In the case of Mary and Elizabeth Tudor, they actually were sisters. Mary, Queen of Scots, was also their first cousin once removed. Save for Catherine de Medici, they were all born royal, and their nearness to monarchical power that had descended to them through generations had given them divinely sanctioned authority to rule over men. Rather than narrate the experiences of the remarkable number of individual women who exercised executive authority in 16th-century Europe, I have chosen to focus on these 4, the best-known women rulers, because their history has exerted the greatest influence, and also because this history has previously been told from a prejudiced point of view. Following the lead of Knox, who argued that women were simply incompetent to govern by reason of their biologically based hysteria and passionate, irrational natures, this misogynist narrative has placed the women rulers in jealous and warlike opposition to each other, rather than in the context of their real aim to make peace together. A reported adolescent slur by Mary, Queen of Scots, on Catherine de Medici's pedigree has provided an undying history about Catherine's hatred of her daughter-in-law. Fictional accounts, like Friedrich Schiller's Maria Stuart, in which Elizabeth stands raging over Mary, who kneels before her pleading desperately for clemency, have made it impossible not to revel in their hostility to each other, or to choose one woman over the other. Often in the recent past, summer spectacles of son et lumière, sound and light, have offered stereotypic slanders of Catherine de Medici, howling diabolically over loudspeakers, while lurid blood-red lights drip down the facades of Loire Valley chateaux. These special effects were doubtless holdovers from such portraits as 19th-century French historian Jules Michelet's, who called Catherine a maggot that crawled out of Italy's tomb, ignoring her many cultural and political achievements. They are stories that have allured us by their phantasmagoric horror at the power of women who, when not controlled by men, destroy everything, and especially each other, in monstrously seductive catfights.